Hello, I'm Philip Duncan, and thanks for joining us for our Wednesday update for June the 14th. It was a cold start across New Zealand today. We had -5 between Taupo and Rotorua. We had -7 down around Alexandra. So a truly cold morning across New Zealand, and it's probably the most widespread cold morning we've had so far this year. It only took till almost halfway into the year. So we've got high pressure in the yellow, low pressure though in the darker colours, and that is moving in from Australia with this windy westerly that's sort of pushing it towards us. But we've got to let this high pressure zone move through first, and that will happen over the next day or so, which means more frosts coming in tonight. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's first of all talk about rainfall coming through. This is for the next 3 days, kicking off from tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, going into the weekend. Now, not huge totals, but up here to the north and to the east, due to a low moving through and sort of spiralling the rain in and around and down that eastern side. You're seeing rainfall totals anywhere between 10 and about 40 millimetres on the map here. But next week, there could be even more rain sliding down the east as that low pressure zone moves through. And there might be as much as 100 millimetres coming, spread out over 4 or 5 or 6 days though. That's the good news. But I know you don't want a lot more rain at the moment around Gisborne and Hawke's Bay. The positive twist, if we are heading towards El Nino, you need to bank up and save as much water as you can at the moment. So if you do have some rain, it's perhaps not bad, but I know that you're sick of it at the moment, so it's probably not the best timing. If you look at Australia, much drier in Aussie. Few showers for Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Hobart. Dry though, up along that eastern side. So let's get into the forecast for Thursday. And as I mentioned, frosts again for parts of New Zealand, mostly the North Island. It'll be a cold morning around Hamilton, Waikato, and we might even be seeing frosts around Auckland for the first time this year. Chance of a light frost, especially inland areas to the south. I don't think the city centre really has much of a risk. High pressure to the north there, but that's being pushed away by this larger area of low pressure. There's more energy out to the west here. So as we go through to Friday, in comes that low, much bigger one down here south of Australia, bringing in a windy westerly for you. In fact, severe gales are possible, 80, 90, 100k gusts around parts of, or anywhere really from South Australia to Victoria to Tasmania. Now that windy westerly gets pushed down into the Southern Ocean, so it doesn't reach New Zealand. We've got a low pressure zone that's driving in a bit of a northerly breeze, in fact a northeasterly for some of you. A few showers around on Friday and a similar story on Saturday. That low is very weak though. It's not a very aggressive system. So that rain curves around, as I mentioned before. That's why you're seeing rainfall totals in the east, despite the low itself being parked over in the west. So dry for many western areas, which is a little bit unusual, but the easterly wind is the reason why. And over in Australia, it's a nor'wester still blowing through their gale force winds on Saturday for you. So you've got some very windy weather for that southeastern corner of Aussie over the next couple of days. It starts to ease on Sunday, but you've got cooler airflows coming through as a result of that. Now in New Zealand, that low is falling apart on Sunday, but still driving in a subtropical nor'easter coming down as far south as Canterbury as we get into the end of the weekend. And the start of next week, no great deal of change. We've got high pressure out to the east, northeasterlies out of the subtropics. That means we've got rain lining up. Gisborne, East Cape, parts of Hawke's Bay and Wairarapa. This could still move around a bit. There's a fine line between it being completely dry and pouring with rain. So if it shifts around a little bit, that could still change. So don't be surprised, I wouldn't be, if the rain forecast changed quite a bit off and on over the next few days ahead as it tries to lock in what's happening next week. But look at this, more low pressure next week, more stormy, well, I was going to say autumn-like weather, really, for Australia, with severe gales, heavy rain, and probably some snow on the mountains. So New Zealand's weather at the moment is fairly quiet compared to what's happening in the southeastern corner of Australia. And that's all from me. We'll see you again tomorrow with our next update.